Welcome back, boys. We got the Week 12 recap coming your way. Some Thanksgiving holiday festivities this week caused us to delay this production, but we wanted to make sure we got this out along with the rivalry preview to make sure there was a proper amount of hatred in the air prior to the primetime slot this week. So we're going to quickly go back through what happened last week, all the exciting points, and then we're going to get into the main event and previewing the hatred for this current week. So, first matchup we had Cleveland Steamers absolutely taking us to Fancy Feast with a 180-95 beatdown. Classic Kiffin Award to Lemp Award throttling in this one. Cleveland Steamers improves to 8-4. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of naysayers about him this year, but he looked more like his former self that many people call him the GOAT for. 36 points in this one. Although it was a nail biter in Carolina, fantasy wise, he looked great. Irving also able to notch 28 of his own behind that. He would find an injury in this one. We hope he heals up quickly. Scary Terry able to notch 20 of his own behind that. And then Trey McBride showing off his team, notching 23 of his own. Houston Texans defense. We always love some good defenses. We know Cleveland Steamers, there's no change to that concept as well. Texans defense would come in with 31 of their own this week. So add all that up. Very impressive 180-point performance for Cleveland Steamers. Killed any last bit of hope for the playoffs Fantasy has and has now officially secured themselves a playoff bid. So we'd like to congratulate them on that, and let's see if they're able to keep this momentum heading forward in rivalry week and the playoffs. Flip side here for Fantasy Feast just really wasn't their week. Season league low 95 points this week. Just a few too many single digits you see here in the middle. Looks like George Kittle was able to get 20, but nothing really beyond that. Just not a great performance throughout the whole lineup on the day. See if they're able to hit the drawing board and get it corrected for rivalry week. All right. Second matchup, we had the Swiper Award this week going to the Philly Chicos with a very narrow 139-133 win over the Sticky Mistakes. They will take it anyway, can get it. Philly Chicos improves to 7-5. They clinch themselves a playoff spot on the year. So they're happy to be taking that into rivalry week. We'll see if they're able to keep that momentum going forward. Justin Herbert would lose to the Ravens, but still able to notch 21 fantasy points. It definitely helped the team. Nico Collins contributing as he always does, put up 20 of his own. And Johnny Smith with 21. Tight end for the Dolphins, very productive in this one. DJ Moore is really the star of the show for this team though this week. 26 points, loss against the Vikings, but huge fantasy production. As you can see, 7 receptions and a touchdown for him, over 100 yards. It's a big day out of him. Able to help propel his team over the finish line, and they were able to narrowly get the victory. Flip side here for Sticky Mistakes, they fall to 5-7. Losing any hope at a playoff spot they might have had, they are now fighting to get out of the toilet bowl in rivalry week this upcoming week. Jalen Hurts looked good, putting up 20 points. Montgomery with 16 against the Colts. Sutton was the big man for them, though, in this one. He was able to put up 27, but just a few too many single digits here at the bottom, or maybe low teens. But they had a good week themselves, just not quite able to keep up with the Philly Chicos, and not quite be enough. We'll see what kind of consolation prize Sticky Mistakes is able to make out of the season, but playoff bid will not be in their future. All right, third game. Yours truly, Texas A&M Forest. We lost the Chargers Award this week in a heartbreaker to Gliz Mafia, 154-144. Gliz Mafia picked up Tua earlier this year off the waiver wire, and he has been nothing but great since coming back from his concussion problems. 35 points in a win over the Patriots this week. And Josh Jacobs right behind him, also throwing up a 30 bomb of his own, 106 yards and 3 touchdowns as he ran all over the 49ers. So when you put that at the top of your lineup, it makes it really hard to defeat. And then Tyler's able to notch 220 performances right behind that with A-Chain and A.J. Brown getting 23 of his own. And then had the rest of the roster rounded out. Nothing right home about there, but when you have the top of the lineup carrying you like that, It's going to be pretty easy to get wins. They improved to 5-7. They now look to get out of the toilet bowl and earn themselves a mediocrity bowl spot this upcoming week in rivalry week. As for us on the Texas side, 10-4s, another heartbreaker for us this season. We're definitely in rebuilding mode, but we're still trying to win these games. We feel like we've had a couple games that are in our class that we just let slip, and that is not the 10-4's way over here. So we're going to make sure that this is just a this season thing and not an issue into the seasons and moving forward. There were still some bright spots for us in this one. Stafford put up 24. Aaron Jones put up 21 of his own. Puka Nacua with almost 20. Jacoby Myers with almost 20. Honestly, we had a pretty good lineup, top to bottom. Buccaneers defense, 22 of their own. A couple single digits in the middle here. Javonte Williams, -2 yards. I believe he left the game with an injury. Finished with only 1.4 points. That's not going to do it. Hunter Henry kept single digits. Not quite enough to defeat a tough Gliz Mafia team, but we move forward to rivalry week, and that is where all our attention lies now. So we try to put a gash into the Philly Chicos as they head into the playoffs. But enough about that for right now. We're going to move on to our fourth game of the week. We had FaZe Kev with an epic comeback against PC Principal, 141-130. Jalen Daniels was the first one to set this team up for success, throwing 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 on the ground. Did have 2 picks, but that wouldn't matter as he got 35 points, both for the Commanders and for FaZe Kev. So that was able to get the momentum started going. They would fall in a little bit of a hole, though, with the rest of the line. You see Jonathan Brooks only getting 7 yards on the day, not quite going to cut it. A few other players here kept single digits in the middle. Solid performances out of the Steelers' defense and kicker. Chris Boswell out of the special teams position, though, was keeping them afloat, but they would need a miracle heading into can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday Night Football, but it was the last game of this matchup at least. And Saquon Barkley would come through. Record-breaking performance, 255 yards and 2 touchdowns would get him 51 fantasy points, just enough for FaZe Kev to etch out an 11-point victory. And they now have themselves a chance to escape the toilet bowl as well this upcoming week. In rivalry week, we'll see if they're able to get it done. PC Principal now very much so looking back into the toilet bowl picture after losing this one. Baker Mayfield would put up a solid performance at 25 points. Kind of the same thing, though, on this side, a few single digits in the middle. Smith-Njigba with 20 and Hopkins with 13, solid day. And then really great day out of specialists able to keep them afloat. Dolphins defense, 26, and Will Lutz with 24. But could not enough to quite overcome that bomb by Saquon Barkley. They find themselves in the loss column. We'll see if they're able to rebound this upcoming week in rivalry week. And that brings us to our fifth and final game of the week. We had the Can Pams defeating Wallace Pluto 141-98. Another solid performance out of Lamar Jackson. This one, 25 points, 2 touchdowns on the through the air and 1 on the ground. And this one will help lead the way for this team. Really just a whole lot of not bad performances. Only the 1 single digit. Pollard with a big day, getting 22 for the Titans. And really just a complete team effort. Can Pams, they improved 7-5. They booked themselves a playoff position now. And Wallace Pluto on the other side here, it was looking like the number 1 seed was easily going to be easy sailing for theirs to take. Now there's a little bit more question of that heading into rivalry week. They are still in first place, however. They do fall 9-3. Still some great spots here. Lions players played pretty good. Goff, solid day. Gibbs with 26. Found the end zone twice. Few single digits in here. Running back throwing up a fat 0 burger. I don't know how that happened. So, yeah, pretty much just the Lions players showed up in this one. They were kept to double digits. Not a usual performance for Wallace Pluto. We'll see if this is a trend in things to come. Hopefully not. This is the first time this team's making the playoffs. Hopefully they're able to keep their mental fortitude about them, put on a strong showing towards the end of the season. Now we will take a quick look at the standings before we get into next week's schedule. But we want to look at how the playoff picture is shaped up real quick. So in the Michigan division, Wallace Pluto has clinched first place in the Michigan division, although not first place in the league outright, as they have Cleveland Steamers only one game behind them for the outright title. But for the Michigan division, they do have that clinched at 9-3, so they will be either the 1 or the 2 seed. Cam-Pams behind them has clinched a playoff spot. As a wild card at 7-5, they will be battling for either the 3 or 4 seed, depending on what happens in rivalry week. Sigma 6 and Gliz Mafia behind them at 5-7. We got a whole also tied with FaZe Kev, Francie Feast, and Pizza Principal at 5-7 in the American division. All of these teams will be fighting to escape the toilet bowl. Only 2 of those 5 can. We'll definitely need a win, and 4 of them are playing each other, so 2 of them will get to 6 wins. So need a win and some tiebreaker luck, but definitely some epic matchups at the 5-7 spots as we head into rivalry week. We currently sit at 4-8 in last place. Not super happy about it, but we're looking to build some momentum in this final week. And then over in the American division, Cleveland Steamers sit at top. They're gunning for the number 1 overall seed, but they could get caught on the division by the Chicos as well, who only sit a game behind them at the moment, so they would need a win and a Steamers loss and then some tiebreakers to go their way. But they could claim the division as well. But those are the 2 teams that will be playing for playoffs. So it will be Steamers, Chicos, Cam-Pams, and Wallace Pluto 84. Now, for everyone's favorite part, the people's main event, we will get into the rivalry week previews. Some major seeding on the line, not so much playoff spots, but definitely playoff seeding and escaping the toilet bowl on the line. So first off, we got Wallace Pluto 84 sitting at 9-3, taking on Francie Feast at 5-7. Wallace Pluto looking to lock up the number 1 overall seed, and Francie Feast is looking to escape the toilet bowl. Francie Feast will be competing to escape the toilet bowl on tiebreakers with the winners of these next 2 matchups. We got Sigma Stakes and PC Principal at both sitting at 5-7, and then Gliz Mafia versus FaZe Kev both sitting at 5-7 as well. If Francie Feast loses, then the winner of those 2 matchups will be facing each other in the Mediocrity Bowl. So definitely need to get some wins there. Definitely take any chance to escape the cold lake while you can. Next matchup, we got some playoff seeding being determined. Cleveland Steamers sitting at 8-4, looking to lock up both the American division and maybe make a run at the number 1 seed with a win here. Taking on Cam-Pams, looking to battle for some playoff seeding at 7-5. And then we got yours truly, Texas 10-4, sitting at 4-8. Season's not going the way we want it to, but we're gonna be coming ready to play this week. We're taking on the Philly Chicos at 7-5. They're battling the Cam-Pams for some wild card positioning. They're also battling the Cleveland Steamers to maybe grab that division title. So we're looking to come in and take all that from them. Well, boys, thank you for joining me for yet another epic rivalry week preview and a week 12 recap. As always, hopefully this week has been filled with as much hatred as your heart had ever desired. And maybe even your team will bring home the victory this week so you can have bragging rights over your rival all off season and take some momentum into the postseason. Hopefully your boys are out there giving it a good fight. You enjoy this video and enjoy yourself some Sunday night and Monday night football. Hope you guys tune in again next week. Thanks for tuning in this week. Peace out, boys.